Good evening, this is Fife, presenting Silicon Valley's daily tech news on HAN News Network. In tonight's headline, OpenAI has announced a major strategic partnership with Broadcom to co-design custom artificial intelligence chips, aiming to bring its compute infrastructure in-house and reduce reliance on established hardware providers. According to Reuters, OpenAI and Broadcom will begin deploying these proprietary AI accelerators in the second half of 2026, with a full rollout planned by the end of 2029. The companies intend to deploy approximately 10 gigawatts of computing capacity across OpenAI's data centers and partner facilities. That 10 GW target is equivalent to powering the energy needs of over 8 million U.S. homes, according to reporting by Reuters. The financial details of the deal were not disclosed, but analysts estimate that deployment costs could run into the tens or even hundreds of billions of dollars. In announcing the partnership, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman described the move as a critical step in building the infrastructure needed to unlock AI's potential. Broadcom will handle the physical development, manufacture, and deployment of the chips, while OpenAI will lead the design and architectural direction. This collaboration marks one of the most ambitious efforts yet to vertically integrate AI hardware and software, placing OpenAI into a more controlled position over its compute stack. The AP News coverage adds that the collaboration began approximately 18 months ago, suggesting the planning and engineering work have been underway well before the public announcement. AP observes that this deal follows OpenAI's recent agreements with both NVIDIA and AMD to secure additional compute capacity. OpenAI's recent partnership with AMD, for example, promises up to 6 GW of supply, beginning in 2026, along with an option to acquire up to 160 million shares of AMD. That AMD deal is seen as part of OpenAI's strategy to diversify its hardware supply chain and reduce exposure to any single chip provider. But deeper than just diversifying, building custom AI chips gives OpenAI the chance to embed optimizations derived from its own models, tailoring the hardware to its workloads in ways off-the-shelf chips cannot match. In a revealing interview on the OpenAI podcast, OpenAI President Greg Brockman disclosed that the company used its own models to assist in chip design, accelerating optimizations that would have otherwise taken human engineers weeks to uncover. According to Brockman, you take components humans have already optimized and pour compute into it, and the model comes up with its own optimizations. He noted that the AI-driven design process yielded massive area reductions and shaved significant time off the schedule. Brockman clarified that human designers eventually reviewed and validated the AI's proposals, confirming their correctness. This model-augmented chip design represents a shift in how hardware architects may work, combining human insight with AI-accelerated creativity to refine layouts, floor plans, and data paths more efficiently. The Verge reports that by merging AI model development and chip architecture, OpenAI aims to optimize across layers of stacked algorithm, software, and hardware. From a deployment timeline perspective, Reuters notes that Broadcom will begin rolling out racks of AI accelerators in late 2026 and scale through 2029. OpenAI plans to integrate these chips into both existing and new data centers, migrating workloads over time. Broadcom is expected to integrate networking and interconnect subsystems as part of the design, challenging incumbent solutions like NVIDIA's InfiniBand. AP News quotes Broadcom CEO Hock Tan saying, "If you do your own chips, you control your destiny." Broadcom's stock responded strongly to the announcement, rising more than 9% on the day. That market reaction underlines investor optimism about Broadcom's positioning in the AI infrastructure wave. However, industry analysts caution that breaking NVIDIA's dominance is far from guaranteed. Many past in-house AI chip efforts have struggled with scale, maturity, and software ecosystem support. Nonetheless, OpenAI has a potential advantage. Tight integration between its models and architectures may produce unique performance gains over general-purpose AI accelerators. The scale of the initiative is immense. Reuters reports that building 1 gigawatt of data center infrastructure can cost between $50 and $60 billion, and chip infrastructure often constitutes more than half of that. Thus, the 10 GW build-out implies investments on the order of hundreds of billions of dollars over multiple years. OpenAI's financial footing is a matter of public interest. According to AP News, the company currently reports over 800 million weekly users, yet it is not yet profitable. Analysts quoted by AP voice concern about the sustainability of such capital-intensive expansion relative to current revenue levels. Some view parts of this aggressive expansion as indicative of an AI investment bubble. One prominent skeptic, investor Brad Gerstner of Altimeter Capital, has warned that many of these chip deals are primarily announcements and not yet backed by functional deployments. He insists that the real evaluation will come when chips are manufactured, delivered, and integrated, not merely announced. OpenAI, while designing chips, will continue to rely on third-party foundries for fabrication, likely tapping high-end fabs such as TSMC. Speculation is strong that the chips will be fabricated on advanced nodes, for example, 3nm or beyond, to gain performance and efficiency. OpenAI's Wikipedia entry notes that the Broadcom collaboration was first reported in early 2025 as part of an initiative to reduce dependence on NVIDIA and open new compute pathways. In the broader industry context, this move is part of a larger trend. Google, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, and others have already invested heavily in custom silicon for AI workloads. As The Verge observes, the acceleration of in-house chip development reflects mounting pressure on traditional GPU suppliers and the desire for vertical integration. Google's TPUs, Amazon's inferentia, Microsoft's internal silicon projects, and Meta's accelerator efforts all illustrate the shift away from pure GPU reliance. OpenAI's distinguishing factor may lie in its ability to integrate model architectures, compilers, and hardware, optimizing performance across the full stack. By controlling the entire pipeline, OpenAI can shape caching, memory hierarchies, interconnect design, and novel compute primitives specific to its models. They might embed specialized support for sparsity, compressed representations, quantization techniques, and novel operators at the hardware level. Such hardware-level innovations could yield gains in energy per token, latency for inference, and overall throughput. Moreover, owning the hardware design enables flexibility for future applications: edge AI, on-device inference, robotics, simulation workloads, and more. In addition, vertical control allows OpenAI to negotiate data center design, power delivery, cooling, rack integration, and interconnect topology tailored to its compute patterns. But challenges abound. Software and ecosystem support is one of the largest barriers. NVIDIA's CUDA ecosystem, with thousands of libraries, tools, and decades of optimization, represents a colossal moat. OpenAI must build or adapt compilers, runtime systems, driver support, and developer tooling to allow researchers and partners to use these new chips with minimal friction. Yield, reliability testing, defect mitigation, and silicon validation remain formidable, especially for bleeding-edge nodes. Thermal constraints, packaging, interposer design, chiplet architecture all require deep engineering. Manufacturing scale and logistics must align with timelines, and any delay in fabrication or yield could cascade into setbacks. Obsolescence risk is real as process nodes evolve, new architectures emerge,